Okay, so here's the next project. I'm going to try and do is take this topper, which is 90 inches long, which is way too long for the 5-foot box on the Jeep. That's 60 inches. Gotta get this to fit onto that. So that's a $50 topper. I believe it's off of maybe a second gen Toyota, maybe. Okay, so here's the existing one that was being built for the Jeep. So that one originally cost me $50, and I've got about $50 and 10-12 hours of labor into fiberglass work and getting it to fit pretty good on the Jeep. There's a few things I'm really not happy about, such as the corner rails. They didn't come curved, just a few older designs. Like, so it's chopped up with the thought of it being used on for the roof of the trailer. And recently I've picked up this super flat one with some real nice rails down here. These are really nice rails. I like how they're mounted. So I really wanted the flat panels for the top of this because they will help in the building of the roof of the trailer. And I may rebuild the base for the Jeep because of how nice this rail system is, and use part of that one and part of this one. It's another one I picked up. Okay, so here's the new base for the Jeep. This was off the white flat topper. It's all cut up now. There's the corner pieces. I'll be using some of them. That's the top. I'm not sure where that's all gonna go, but it has a really nice contour here that works with the Jeep. I had these clamped down just to see how well everything lined up, but you can see it's too wide and way too long. So I'm going to now cut it down to size, and we're going back to keeping it inside the box because of another idea, which eventually you'll see. So I'm gonna cut her down. Okay, it's all the measuring done, and what I've done is had to cut a large chunk out. I don't know, about this much. It was only 16 inches. Plus that included the tail corner, so that was all here, so that much longer. I accidentally cut the driver's side in the wrong spot. I don't know why. Not enough coffee this morning. So now it's patched back together. 1/8 inch aluminum plate, using some brazing rod with the benzomatic torch. Bunch of rivets. Okay, so I've got my base frame all back reassembled. Yeah, it looks a little bit of extra heat there in the fiberglass, but that's okay. That's all going to be fixed. We're all riveted back together. Got it all clamped on. Now I'm starting to do putting side panels back on, which will have the same width and angle as the cab of the box. So you see it there. So that's a spacer that'll angle it. I'm just going to use some fast set crazy glue and kicker just to tack that in place. Okay, it's looking a little bit strange with some wood here. So I put some upright struts about the height of where maybe the top will go. It's gonna be lower, but so when I decide what roof I want, I need to support it at the back, which is here. And it will go to this line here. It's going to be 56 wide at the front, which is about 10 inches wider than what the previous one I built was. And I'm probably going to have about about a 10-inch rise on an angle and then back. So I want to mock up where the top's going to go with the right top. And then I can start to add finish my corner pieces. Right, so this is the top cut off. The other piece, it's pretty heavy, nice and heavy duty, which is great because did either a roof rack or, you know, put my kayak up there, cargo basket, whatever. This is very thick. I'd say the glass work on this is double the thickness of the glass work on that. And then I have to. All right, see if I can get this up on. So my top, got a couple of big fence posts. I got my roller, a couple of clamps which are holding on the base frame. They'll stop the roller. I'm going to do this in stages. Pretty much have it where I want it. I'm going to stay with about 1.5 inch gap, maybe a little bit less at the roof. If you look down the side, it's flared out a touch at the top, which I'll work with. I could slice the roof straight down the middle and join it back together to draw it in, but I do have room to bring this out. If I want it perfectly flush, it's nice and flush down here. If I want it perfectly flush the top, I do have room to bring it out a bit, which will actually bring that in better. Or maybe I'll just go straight up. I'll have a little bit of a flare here. We'll see. So the panel I'm going to put in here, I'm going to have very close to the line of the Jeep's cap. Now this is a touch wider, so what I've done is I've cut about 3/4 of the way through the glass here, and then I made it flexible. So when I put the panel in here, I can flex this one to line up with the other one. So here it is, bits put together. Up here is going to change. That's change. Back here, so this is actually where the back door will be, which is inside the tailgate. And then this will then create a bit of a shelter. Like there's lots of trimming like this. This will be trimmed. This will be trimmed here. Then the inner piece, this piece, will be cut to match, and then they'll be plated together. So now I'm starting to assemble it with some Evercoat kitty hair long strand. So I just grind down the two surfaces, get rid of the gel coat, cut into some of the fiberglass, and then I just mix it up and squish some in. Put a few screws with back plates to hold it. Now this piece up here, I got 3 pieces coming together. I just cut one, so they're sort of layered. So I'm just going to cut right across here, and that'll bring all 3 pieces together. I'll backplate it, grind it. I'll put the filler in there. Things to get it all assembled with kitty hair, and then start to rework it. And then on the inside, I'll do chop mat. I'll be doing chop mat eventually here. But I'm going to wait because I'm probably going to put one great big panel on. So this is a flat. So you can see here, it's just basically, there's 4 pieces. 1, 2, this one here is a 90 across the bottom. So that'll hold the platform that makes the attic, which won't be put in until after it's back off. So there's a 2nd piece, 3rd piece, 4th piece. The back piece here has to be cut twice so I can bend it. So once this is all crazy glued in place, I then come along, I'll trim it up a little bit with the cutoff wheel. Then I start doing put in some long strand kitty hair. That bonds it really good. Then I go back in and grind that down. Then I glass over top of that. And then that's how the other side. So that's basically how this side was. It's 4 pieces, maybe 5, can't remember. And then, so it's had the kitty hair, that's what bonded the pieces together, and then ground down. And I'm gonna make it pretty rough, and it's gonna make a detent into the glass, so that way when the glass itself, the chop mat and the resin go in, it sort of levels it. Now when all this is smoothed off, it should be a pretty smooth finish. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be done with a textured spray, so it'll take out some of the imperfections. So here you can see this here is a short strand kitty hair, just to get in and hold that. So I cut this, bent it, so cut it through about 85%. Then I was able to bend it, and then I filled that gap back in. So that has held this down a bit. All right, most of the structure is done. Just gonna have a little bit of work in here to get the contour up in the top corner. The other side's very, very similar. Might be a little bit off on a bit of the angles, but we're looking at one side at once. Be working on this back here once I figure out what I'm doing for either a window or a open door. Okay, back to working on the topper. I've picked up a couple windows, picked up a back door. It's all from Haps RV, used RV place north of Aurelia here in Ontario. There's another hatch and a door there. And I picked up another topper for 20 bucks. This one had solid sides on it. So I'm going to get it roughly in position. So I cut out a nice big square there, or rectangle. And I've got marked where my hatch and my window is going to go. It'll be a little different on the other side. Doesn't have to be symmetrical. So I'll get this roughly in position. Double check my hatch and my window for squareness, square to the rail. Then I'll take it off, I'll cut them out, and I'm gonna temporarily screw them in place. That way it's gonna help keep this more flat, because there is a touch of a curve to this fiberglass, but I'll be able to manipulate it enough by screwing the windows in place and also doubling up the thickness around the window frame. That'll just help secure things. I've also cut my piece for up in the attic. It's not secured in yet. Until I put it on the Jeep, I have to make sure that this strengthening rib, sorry about the sun, This strengthening rib here, which hangs down about 1/2 inch, isn't hitting the top of the Jeep. If it's just touching here and there, that's okay. I'll put a piece of foam or gasket on it to stop that. So a lot of work in the next week and a half. Okay, so that was the part 1 of the Jeep fiberglass camper build. Version 1, which you saw, wasn't much of. I didn't really record a whole lot of the building of that first one, the white one, which never was put to use. It was just hacked up for bits and pieces because it was very thin and I could use it. I could manipulate the glass. So what you see on the Jeep right now, that's version 3, which will be coming later in videos because there's been version 2 that you just finished watching at the start of the build, and what the next part will be is more of that one. Eventually gets hacked up to create version 3. And then version 3 has quite a few modifications, such as a backslide, which in version 4 is going to actually be modified again, which that's just part of learning and making it better. It's got its use, and now I've figured out some things I need to do to it to make it better. So stay tuned for that. Again, thanks for watching. Be safe.